What's up, guys? This is Super Mike 2164. We're going to go over a couple things here with this Christmas thing. To some of y'all know a lot of stuff about this Christmas thing. And, I'm just going to put a little, I don't necessarily expect it to be very long. What's going on, James? Hey, what's up? What's up? Yeah, we may come up because we're going to be dealing with some stuff from your expertise. So we may have a discussion about it in a minute. But what I want to do is just go over a little background, everybody. Press the thumbs up. Share the message. We're going to do the Christmas thing. This is a Black-centered conversation. Of course, everyone is welcome to join us. We just hope that you guys just understand that these topics and subjects are for the purpose of gaining clarity in the world. So some of the subjects may seem controversial, which they are. But the intention is not to necessarily offend people for the sake of offending. But this is to get everybody on closer, I'll say it that way, closer to the perception of reality, the actual reality. So, us in Black America, we have, and even all over America, any Christianized, indigenous people have been kind of Christianized. And even people who are classified as whites have been Christianized. But ever since Constantine, we know that under this sign, the cross, he's going to conquer. So it's going to unify everybody under Christianity, which could be good if you're able to climb up the ladder or the totem pole to the highest reaches of that, of what we call Christendom, the mind of Christianism. But we're going to go over a little bit of this history here. So we're looking at Christmas, mass. It's the masses of Christian people. Now, what is a Christian? A lot of people grow up all over the world. They believe they know what Christianity is. But when you start going into the history, we find out that a lot of people don't know what Christianity is. There's a stated word of what this religion is, and then there's an actual practice of what this religion is. And we find that these things vary based upon where you heard it from. These things vary based upon where you heard it from. So we're talking about right now, we're just leading into the introduction, because I want to talk about some of the other sides of this holiday they call Christmas. Now, we know the Christmas thing is like commercialized, right? But before Christianity, there was Slavs and Slavic. This is a pagan thing over there, down there in Germany, and this is their heritage. They leave some of the part of their heritage out because maybe it's not acceptable to everybody in the world. So we want to go over some of that, because I don't think everybody really has the right to celebrate this thing called Christmas correctly, because it's not a part of everybody's heritage. This is a part of heritage for a certain group of people, and they need to be able to go ahead and express their heritage correctly without everybody having judgments over their stuff. So we have, there you go. Let's look at this one, actually. This is the one. Krampus. That's not Krampus, but this is part of their festival. In Christmas, and keep in mind, let's do this here. Let's go here first. A lot of Black folks, we celebrate Christmas, and a lot of people celebrate it because of the Bible. This is where we were told to look for our cues here, because we were Christians and we're supposed to follow the Bible. But here's a contradiction in that conversation. The conversation is because actually, you know what? Let me turn this down. There we go. That's irritating actually now. But the point is, the contradiction in that conversation is they tell you to follow the Bible, but when we see passages such as this versus what we're actually doing, we find a difference. We find a difference. And that difference basically in Jeremiah, now keep in mind, this is religion. Okay, most people, even if you say you don't believe religion, a lot of our cultures come out of religious practices over generations. This thing told the people, children of Israel, I guess those are the good guys. If you think you're the house of Israel, you're supposed to, thus saith the Lord, harvest, all that. I'm not going to read it like that. Bottom line is, it says, the customs of the people are in vain. Don't follow the heathens. So a heathen is someone who's basically a barbarian, is an unreligious person, right? Somebody who doesn't believe in God and they do what the hell they want to do. Don't follow the customs of the heathens because they are in vain. They cut a tree out of the forest. Okay, tree. So we do that. People who celebrate the Christmas do that. This is the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. So they deck it with silver and gold. Wow, that's interesting because we do that. Interesting. Western world, we do that. We deck the trees with silver and gold. They fasten it with nails and hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree. Hold on 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Had to let somebody in. No, basically, they're upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must They must needs be born. That's interesting. Maybe that's a typo or something. Because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. So these are neutral, dust-like people. They have no allegiance. They're just living in vain. Okay. So, but they are altogether brutish and foolish. The stock is a doctrine of vanities. Okay. Is that what you want to be a part of? That's what but we do this stuff, right? People that celebrate these holidays, this Christmas thing especially. So, so I just wanted to put that out there because this is the foundation of, especially in America, Black people, this is where we say we celebrate it because it's Jesus. Jesus told you to celebrate. He's the Christ, and you're going to celebrate his birthday, right? So let's look at this here. What I have here is, this is Slavic. Basically, we're going to do a little Slavic history. If you're wondering, slave and Slavic, yes, they come from the same etymology. The roots of slavery, why are slaves Slavs, and why are Slavs called Slavs? Okay, these are the Polish people before they got a hold to the Black folks and did that slavery thing. The Western mind, they were enslaving the poor, barbarian type. This goes all the way back to Roman history. These people, these are the people that couldn't write, they couldn't read. These were considered barbarians. They were walking around with the horns of animals and eating flesh raw. So the Slavic countries and their main languages are generally categorized in three groups: Eastern, Russian, Belarus, and Ukraine. Not many black folks, right? So this is what I'm trying to make this connection. Why, Michael, why are you talking about white history? Why are you talking about white history and you're a black person? Why? Because we in the Western world, we think with the etymology and the history of white culture. We literally think, because we were trained by these folks. Even this word slave, we see that as a part of our language, but it means something a little different to us. But where does it come from? It comes from people who your people were doing something different at this period of time, in the 9th century and the 5th centuries and stuff. So this is the reason why we're going through this, because we have to understand what's actually true. Here you go. You got these below. The languages in Europe, which are Slavic, and their distribution is shown on the map. All right. So that's Germany. You got the Czech Republic, you got Austria, you got Poland, Hungary. A lot of black Americans, we really don't. We hear these names. We don't know where the hell these places are. We don't know we don't know. This is Italy right here. A lot of us don't even know that Germany is right up above Italy. So we just don't know that. And then Turkey. But these are the, I guess, the ones that are in highlight. The ones that are highlighted would be considered the Slavs. So these are the lower level. Today, all of these people are considered and classified as whites. All of these guys are classified as whites. But during that time, these were the barbarians, the lower class. They were not looked on as great. They were the lower caste of society. It was okay to go kill them, to enslave them, do whatever you want to do to those, because they're just basically animals. They walk around crazy. You see, even the Bible during that time, remember, the Bible comes from this area too, because it's over 2,000 years old, especially the Jeremiah part. That's the Old Testament. It told you don't follow the way of the heathen. So all of these are heathens. These are heathens. Who's the heathens today? The ex-slaves, the black people, right? Are you the Slavs of today, Black America? Are you following this here? Are you doing this? Is this and a lot of black people will say, well, I didn't know about that. I do it because, this is our pattern. This is something that we've been doing for a long time, and it's fun. I don't want my children to miss out on anything. What's up, guys? Yeah. And actually, you know what? We're going to get y'all up, and it's about 10 minutes, and we'll get y'all up, because I just want to put a couple other pieces on here. And actually, you know what? I'm just going to if y'all want to call in, I'm just going to let y'all come up now. Let's do this. Just hold on. Yeah, if y'all want to come up, I know James is from this area, so I'll be interested to hear what you say. And Leroy, let me know if you've seen that on Facebook. I put the link in. Let me do it this way. Let me do it like this. Ugh. I'm all over the place, guys. I just want to get a little bit of conversation. And usually the conversations I have is going to take about, try to keep them under an hour and a half. But we just want to put this out here, because I know that Leroy, you're in the church. So I'll be interested to hear your perspective too on this. Dang, I'm not getting it. Where is it at? Anyway, let me do it this way. Ugh. Is it on? Okay, anyway. Anyway, I'm all over the place. Sorry, guys. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. All right, I'm on the wrong. I think I might be on the wrong one. Is that you, Leroy? Yeah, we reading from the I'm reading from Leroy. Yeah. I wonder if you can come on YouTube. Did you see that thing? What we're reading from is basically the history of the Slavs, Germany. We're just dealing with the actual Christmas. And really what I'm going to get into is this thing called Krampus. I want to get into that history because a lot of folks don't really know it. And this is a part of this lineage. This is a part of this legacy. So this parade of spirits, this is the counterpart to Satan Nick. You know, Nick literally means, you know, another word for devil in these languages. And a lot of us think that just because we don't know this information, that our ignorance is bliss. It's not true, because what we're doing is we're following a pattern of ignorance. You know, so let's look at this here. I'm going to read some more of this part. So revelers reveal their darker sides in the parade of spirits in the northern liberties on Saturday. The annual gatherings is inspired by Krampuslof, a Central European tradition honoring the half-goat, half-demon Krampus, who punishes naughty children decked out in feathers and branches and faux fur. The participants march through the neighborhood singing and ringing bells. Okay? I mean, this is a part of these people's histories, no problem. But I'm just saying, is this what we're, you know, should the world be, you know, do we all have the right to follow this pattern here? This is a pagan thing. There's nothing wrong with being pagan, because if that's your lineage. But what I'm saying is, you know, a lot of folks are doing things and they have no idea of the origin, and so they don't really have a good choice. Wearing a hand-carved mask from his time studying in Austria, Graydon Duckenberger said he appreciated the darker way of celebrating the season and the contrast between a commercialized Santa Claus and Krampus, a folk tradition with darker days. Now, keep in mind, Krampus predates Saint Nick. Krampus predates Christmas. So Krampus is more authentic. This thing here is more authentic than any of the stuff that we're dealing with. Now, this same author, she's pretty much an expert on this, because it looks like she does this story every year. Because Kimberly Painter, she did it 2 years ago. She also did it in 2018. This is the one she did in 2018. So she did the same story. She added some to it. This is actually a female. So I don't know if the dark skin means something, but the point is, this is how they looked at it. Every last one of these costumes come from something. You know, they come from a character that these people had. And this is tied in with what's the other one called? I don't celebrate none of them, but Halloween. This is tied in with Halloween. So a lot of people think this is dark and spooky at a time when everything is supposed to be festive and jolly. But some of us are more attracted to the darker side of life anyway, said Finnegier. I think there's a lot about Santa Claus that can be scary for kids. All right. So I just wanted to put that out there. I wanted to also get uh, this is Leroy Muhammad. He's a European uh, minister, and this guy has a take. He's going to say something about this stuff too, because he's done literally research on some of this.
And establish a brand new reality on this planet, as opposed to the status quo, which has been established by Satan himself. And so, also, not surprisingly, racism was interwoven into this Christmas folklore through another disturbing tale. Nicholas' function in the church was to judge the goodness or evil of the children in his domain. He would quiz them on their church lessons, rewarding them with candy, sweets, and gifts, or chastising them with sticks or pieces of coal. He was accompanied by a sidekick named Black Pete, described by one scholar as a hairy, chained, horned, blackened, devilish monster clutching a gaping sack in his hairy claws. Come on, man.
Okay, so I think we just seen Black Pete. I think that's what that was. When we looked here, this must be Black Pete, because I see the chains. Yeah. That must be Black Pete right there. Black Pete. Okay, let's keep going.
Think about this was St. Nick's or Santa Claus's sidekick, a black, hairy monster, dear beloved family. This is the history of Santa Claus that, again, many of us may know very little about. And I think I mentioned this last week. I don't know how we could take our child and sit them on the lap of some complete stranger. And again, I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan really slapping us as black men, those of us who will put a pillow in our stomach and put a pillow in our back and put on that red suit and put on that beard with our black face, acting the fool, talking about we are Father Christmas or Santa Claus. Black Pete's job was to glare at the children while Nicholas drilled them on their lessons. The menacing monster with African features would every now and again flash his enormous canines and leap towards the frightened children, threatening to beat them with his rod. Nicholas warned the bad children that this Black Pete would stuff the little transgressors into his sack, only to be released at the next Christmas.
Yeah, that's, I'm just putting out some information. Like I said, Now let me ask you this here. Did you see that link, Leroy? Because I want you to come up there. Because I actually want to hear because I know that you're, yeah, I don't know if you can see it on Facebook or not. Let me see. Because that's the whole point of what I'm saying. None of this has anything to do with Jesus. But because we have this pattern now, yeah, yeah, did you have this, let's look at it like this. Let me see if I can find you over there on Facebook and put the link in, because I think you can't see it. That's what it is. Let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. Okay, yeah, you couldn't see this. Okay, I think I can see it now. You can see that right now, Stanley. Yeah, just click that link. Yeah, just click that link, and then you can come up so we can, as I want to get your perspective on that. I don't know how to switch back. Oh yeah, There it is. Yeah. But yeah, that's my point is it's just that we just need to understand, like, when we starting to put our children in these type of patterns, we starting to put, we're constantly, practicing, we're literally worshiping. I know a lot of people don't want to use that terminology. We don't want to believe that we're doing worship. But when you make obeisance and you continue to follow a certain pattern, you're creating a culture. And then all someone has to do is come over there and show you the truth of it. And, if it lines up with your heritage, then it's authentic. That's cool. But, if it doesn't, how do you look, worshiping another culture and, honoring everything about another group? You're literally worshiping everything in that other group. This is why we hear a lot of people, when they have these conversations, they have a guttural response when it comes time to apply the same criticisms they may have of maybe Black folks or any other people. They find, what's going on? What's going on, Leroy?
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
Yeah. So what do you think? Because I wanted to actually understand. You're in church, right?
Church is a building. No.
But I'm saying, what I mean is,
I know what you mean, man. I'm messing with you.
Language. No, go ahead. Give me the right language.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a building. It's not the body.
Right.
But I mean, it's interesting to hear. I remember hearing about the Krampus movie. I never watched it, but I do remember hearing that term. Not growing up or anything, but as you get older, you know better, you do better. And Christmas not in the Bible, and we understand his birth and accept it as fact, but it's not. The celebration was there at the beginning with the three kings, and it is important to recognize his birth, but the more important thing is the resurrection. But that's a different program. But as far as Christmas,
bro, because like this ain't no, you don't have to stick to just what the title is. It's like whatever pops in your mind, go ahead and say it, because we're trying to kind of flush some of this information out, and I'm not expert on all this stuff, so I try to put on, that's why I appreciate when some of y'all come up, because y'all have additional, viewpoints on it.
Oh yeah. I mean, what you said in the last program I just listened to about whatever it said on these platforms, whether it's you as we'll just go with broadcaster for lack of a better term, or what happens in the chat, or what happens when there's multiple people on a panel. Information comes out of that can be used. Right. I mean, you take the meat and you throw away the bones type deal. Right. But the reason I said resurrection is because that is where the power is. Mm-hmm. That doesn't discount, becoming a man, which is what Jesus did. And we could talk about the names that, I mean, it's the New Testament was written in Greek. The Old Testament was written in Hebrew. It was a reason for all those things. And the same way that it's translated into many languages. So all had an opportunity, to read it for themselves and decide for themselves. But with Christmas, oh my goodness. I mean, I don't teach. I've never taught my children about Santa Claus. That is not a reality for them. It was for me. But like I said, you know better, you do better. I wasn't doing that.
So how did you feel when
giving them some fantasy of some guy in a red fur suit with a white beard gonna do something for you?
So how did you feel when your kids?
That's not reality.
How did you feel changing the teaching from yourself, the way you got it? Did you feel like your kids was missing out?
No, because I want them to know what real is. It's too much fake already out here. So no, I don't have any hangups about that. If you don't have a tree, there are no lights. You know, I give them gifts, but they know who they come from. You know what I'm saying? It's not a, and I've taught them. We've gone over the story, and they know.
Went over it with them.
Yeah. They know the facts of the matter. They don't, you know.
Yeah, that's good because
no. What was that thing? People scared to separate from it.
Yeah, people scared to go over them facts with their kids, and so it just doesn't. It ain't turning out right because what ends up happening is people. I guess they get their kids. They're I don't know. Like I don't know if it's because a lot of times the mama is more worried about the feelings of the kid, and we have a lot of people that play more towards emotional issues. It really is their pain probably instead of the kids, because I know my mama stopped teaching me that stuff, and I didn't care nothing about it.
Yeah, I mean, it ain't, you can't miss what you have kind of deal, but it's maybe in some sense, I think maybe some people, children to have the same childhood they had, but I want my children to have the truth.
Right.
All that. I mean, it was great growing up because we had that. My sisters and I, we definitely had that, trees, all that. But like I said, better.
Did you ever wonder where that came from, though? Because I always wonder where that came from when we was doing when I was real little. We was doing that stuff. I was like, who came up with this? Like, especially Halloween too.
Yeah. No, not really. I mean, we ain't celebrate Halloween hard at all. I mean, I might have went trick-or-treating twice, and I've never taken mine at all. And we ain't no, putting on no masks and none of that. But you know what? Looking at Halloween and to think of it in a satanic sense, maybe that was all part of the plan to weaken people's perception. So they won't see, okay, on Halloween we wear a mask. So yeah, I can just wear a mask for my health. And they just jump right in with, no second thought or nothing. And it's like, for real, dude, y'all, you're actually falling for this stuff with the mask, even though that's, some people think it makes them safe, but bro, something you can't see. I mean, you can't even wear a mask and not get a cold. You can still catch a cold.
Exactly. So
I don't know, man. It's a lot of lies floating around here. A lot of lies.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. Because so many people so used to dealing with lies that they won't. It's like they won't even. They just keep dealing with lies. They won't even. It's like because they kept dealing with the lies from Christmas. This is part of this thing.
Yeah. Whoa, what is that? Is that the little thing that is supposed to put the children in a bag?
Yeah, this is Krampus. This is it.
That's Epstein.
Yeah, see? This is the same thing.
That's Jeffrey Epstein.
See that long tongue?
Oh, my goodness.
They used to scare. And I was looking at something on Instagram where they had some people.
And see it.
But this is a lot of history, though. This is part of this history. This stuff here.
Oh my God.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, this is like just because we didn't know this, we thinking like, well, I didn't know this, and so I don't do that with my kids. But you got to realize, like, this is the thing when this is what this is connected to. This is where this kind of stuff came out of. And this is before even Jesus. So this is over 2,000 years old.
Okay, so check this out.
Go ahead.
Check this out. In the Old Testament, it speaks to something called the prophet of the groves, and it describes how That's why I was asking, what were you reading in the not the very beginning of the program. I think it was about 11 minutes in, because I wanted to know, was that the word, because it speaks of the prophet of the groves and how people will adorn trees, and that we shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, that was Jeremiah 10. That was
okay, great.
Yeah, that was in the Bible, because that's why I said it that way, because that's like where that a lot of folks, we've been told, okay, this is the book here. You want to look at this book, this Bible thing. American history is short, 250. Yeah, exactly. There's not no age for no country. You're right. But the thing is, though, this Bible thing, this is what here it is, Bible. Y'all listen to this Bible. This is your child to listen to. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we look
at it. It warns us against it.
Now we read it. We say, okay, here's truth. But when we hear about some of this history, they say, well, they ain't put it all in there. Okay, so, and then when we look in the Bible, then like you said, first of all, you got me doing this here, this Christmas thing, and you notice how they scare the kids, right? You're supposed to scare your children, because even though they didn't teach us about this part, but they did teach us, like, okay, it's going to be naughty and nice, right?
Yes.
See?
Yep.
But they didn't tell us the naughty side. Yeah, they didn't tell us that side. They just told us the nice side, and so, okay, here's Santa. And then if you didn't do right, you're going to get coal.
Yeah, a lump of coal.
See?
And your sock.
They still connecting you in there. See, Black Pete is a dark Spanish guy. That's the Moors. You see? James Doe says Black Pete is a dark Spanish guy. That's Moor. That's a Moor. So the dark Spanish people are Moors. And I just showed the map. And like I said, let me look at this here. I hate this sharing thing. I'll be messing that thing up. But
I like that screenshot though.
Right.
Puppet strings.
Yeah.
It's a lot of puppetry arts taking place.
Right.
Man.
Yeah, because see, the thing is, it's like, if we take a little time and go through some of this, I don't like going through it too long, because what ends up happening is,
Hello.
I'm not. That's the reason you cannot be worried about like views and stuff. If you're trying to like do information and have conversations, you got a lot of people. I understand people want to grow the channels and stuff and worry about views. I'm not worried about that, because a lot of times if you're talking about something that got sense or half a bit of sense, you're not gonna have no views, So, but if you look at
but if you come with that, frivolous stuff that don't mean nothing, that catch fire, and part of that is the algorithms, because they're gonna promote the confusion. They're gonna always promote the confusion. That's how you know it's of Satan.
Right.
But it's not anything that the Lord hasn't prepared us for. He said he'll use evil to our good. Right. Because we talking about this stuff right now, and like I said, I've heard of the movie, but I didn't have any inclination of this part. But I strayed away from Santa Claus far before I was brought. I would say, I have to say, it's revealed to me, man, because that's the only way I can describe it. That the same letters that spell Santa,
Satan.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be a clue.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, people don't even like. That's why I put in the title there. Satan Nicholas. If you look up the meaning of Nicholas, the word, the name, you should never name your kid Nick.
Yeah.
That means devil. It's another name. That's why I remember that little movie that Adam Sandler had. Adam Sandler.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And he was the devil's kid or something. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So it's like, okay, I'm looking here. Okay, I'm looking on this map here. So we got Spain. And you say that Pete. And think about that. Pete actually means black, don't it?
Wow.
Don't Pete mean?
I know. I know this white boy named Pete. I'm gonna be absolutely sure to let him know that he's black as iron.
Yeah, but think about that.
By his name.
But yeah. But and now I'm thinking about it, it's like Pete Moss and Pete. These words, like all of these, like people don't understand. Like, you know, when you start getting into this stuff, you got to be careful because you can kind of go crazy going into some of this stuff. That's why I don't go too deep. I'm not going too deep. I'm just, you know, just this part of it because it's too much. Pete and more. He's right. James is right. Both of those mean black. Yep.
Wow.
And then, yeah, go ahead.
Are you speaking to, in a broader sense, the word spell and spells? Because, you know, I haven't gone a deep dive into it, but I've been noticing things, and I think that's, you know, one of the things that I've been gifted with, like read and read. Spell.
Yeah.
One is present and one is past. Bows and bows.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm gonna take a bow,
right?
But bow is spelled the exact same way.
Well, see, what the thing is, though, you got to realize that's the reason why, especially black folks. And when I say black folk, and people don't understand, like, the language is so important. You got to realize that every single word has a story, an old story. It's like we made up cool, using the word cool, right, a certain way. And we change up the language because it doesn't really suit the way we move. It's because the way we move in our history and our experience, right, is a different experience from the people whose etymology most of these words we got from. So the history is like a divergent history, and we just had a crash course in this country. We just crashed into each other, and okay, we lost the little battle, so now we got to speak their language, right? And then what made it even worse, though, is they wiped our memories here. So, you know, our memory is wiped. So this is like a real bad thing because what happens was when your memory is wiped, it's just like if you adopt a kid and then you raise this kid and you know, you don't tell them the truth. And then all of a sudden, somebody out of the blue, like, hey, I'm your biological parent.
And you destroy their whole world.
And of course, they're going to call you a liar right at the beginning. And then they're going to say, hey, just keep this picture of me. Damn, you look just like me. And they're going to, and that's all you need to know. And here you go. Somebody outside of our family came and told me the truth. Now you're going to have a problem because they're going to be angry. And this is the issue collectively, you know, that, you know, our folks got going on. But, you know, it passes.
I mean,
up.
you know what, that and a resist that I mean, and maybe it's natural, but that resistance to when the truth comes to you. Right. You know what I'm saying? I guess it's not because one is conditioned. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Charles Darwin who did something to that effect.
What's up, James?
Yes.
What's up, James? I'm sorry, I sat you down. I'm sitting there looking at James. You know what, James? I'm sorry, man. I was sitting there looking at your profile, but I was looking at it in the chat, and for some reason, I just didn't click on. What's up, man?
No, it's all good, man. I've been in the side chat.
Right. Now, I know you grew up in Germany. You said, well, you was born in Germany, right?
Yeah, I was born in Germany, grew up in Germany, lived there most of my childhood. So like this, we didn't have Black Pete. We had the only thing that we ever had was a game in kindergarten that was it's kind of like where you make the kids run, you know, and it used to be like, who's afraid of the black man? No one. And if he comes, then what are you going to do? You're going to run. And then everybody just ran. So it was that's kind of like, but you also have to understand that this is just school education,
Right.
and in the end effect, I mean, sure, someone said something. The first black kids started coming to school, and they're just like, "Oh shit, we shouldn't be saying this," you know. And then it becomes a different game. So, and you know, and this is anyway 25 years ago, 35 years ago, let's say. So times have changed in that time. So I'm just saying that.
But think about it. This is what I believe. This is what I tell people. I don't believe in changing. This is how I do it. Like, for example, let's say you have a cultural issue that maybe I believe from the outside that might not be good. It's not really my play. This I can express myself, but this is your guys' thing. I don't want to demonize your thing, right? That's how I do it, because the thing is,
I understand.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I understand the misconception that can come of it, because you also have you're talking about mostly different countries here with different cultures, and they're not like the United European countries. They all have different languages. You can't go from Germany to Luxembourg and expect them to speak the same language, especially back then. France, different language. Spain, different language. Portugal, United Kingdom, Ireland, and all those East Bloc countries, they have different languages, completely different languages, like Africa would have. You know, I mean, you have French and German and all the colonial languages, but then you have your traditional African languages that go around, you know? So like Black Pete is something that was in Holland, and they just recently changed it. He was a black Moor from Spain. He might have been a black person that came over the Strait of Gibraltar from Africa. Who knows? It's just kind of like this day that's celebrated as that. He's not an enslaved guy. He's just the guy not sitting on the horse like everybody else is not standing on the horse, you know.
But what do you think of this here? Let me ask you.
Saint Nick would give people. He had stuff, and obviously he was representing the church, and he would give to the poor. So that's basically, here, I have money, I'm the church, I'm giving to the poor, see how great I am.
Right. Now, let me ask you this here. Now, keep in mind, so look, if you have, I mean, I'm not going to even guess too much of that. I'm going to assume that I knew that when I seen this Black Pete character, it's got to be a Moor, because, you know, we see Spain here, but, you know, the Latin language, we know that was the Roman language, right? Latin, right? We know that that's what they used to actually speak, Latin.
Well, yeah, Rome. Not in Germany, but
Rome for the most part.
Yeah,
because I know Rome broke into two parts, right? We know it was the eastern and the western part of Rome. I'm talking about just, I think it was basically like Italy, but Rome was, their language is Latin. It was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
the basic of most languages from which you can learn other languages better, but that's, for me, it was all nonsense. It's
right. But I mean, you got a whole continent, half a continent, I should say. Well, maybe that is a continent, South America. People calling themselves Latinos and Latins.
Yeah.
Or Latin.
But basically, this is global expansion. It's not demonized. This is just, we're just looking at these patterns, because what happens is, you know, to me, there's certain what end up happening. This is where I'm going here. Okay, we got globalism, right?
Hey, Mike.
Expanding, right? Everybody expanded to this global thing, right? Because of the expansionism, the powers, and all of that. Okay, it had some benefits to it, but what I see now is a lot of cultures, individual cultures, being erased, because everybody has this, the people who are from those lineages, the natural people who should kind of carry on some of their native and natural traditions, they have these ideas of Western minds, but they're literally, their bodies, their DNA is from the natives of North America or the natives of Africa or something to that effect. But the thing is, what ends up happening is both cultures are being erased. I don't know if that's a good thing, because you got a lot of European countries, they have a birth issue. A lot of people are leaving these little towns, and they're paying people to have babies and all this weird stuff because they can't keep it on their culture and stuff.
But you have these places everywhere. These places are those places that don't have internet. Their houses are collapsing. They want to get out of their family's house. There's nothing in their town, and you have plenty of that in America too.
Yeah.
Kids that have never gotten out of their own community, even experienced outside of it. But while you want to have a community for yourself, eventually, and just like me, it's just like you grow up, and then all of a sudden it's just like, no, I don't want my dad to tuck me in at night and my mom to give me a night kiss. I don't want them even coming in my room because I got business to do here, and so and that's the same thing with countries. I mean, a lot of these East Bloc countries, not Germany. I'd say Germany is the strict divide in Europe from like the more richer countries, like and then the more countries that used to be under Russian control. Mm-hmm. But like people from the Czech Republic or from other places, they might also speak German, or they might also speak Russian, because there's nothing really to offer in their country. So they are trying to migrate, even if it's just by language or intercommunication, because Germans want to produce in the Czech Republic. It's cheaper. Germans want to produce in China. Germans want to produce everywhere where, I mean, that's the basis of capitalism. I produce somewhere where it's cheaper than where I live. I bring it over here, and instead of giving it cheaper to my people, I charge them exactly the same as if it were produced here, making me profit.
Right.
So, and that's the concept that everybody does. So nobody in Germany wants to slice up pigs, cut their heads off, watch them get slaughtered. So who do we take? We take the Polish people or the Czech people or the Slovakian people and let them do the job, because they'll do it. They're just like, this is all I do is saw this pig's head off, then this is what I do. And that's kind of like the outsourcement of jobs and this is just general speaking, and this happens everywhere. I mean, you do it in America with your prison labor, prison profit for prison, but that's kind of like beyond the far beyond the topic that you were discussing here.
That's into it, because what I'm saying is we got this holiday. We got everybody's celebrating this thing. It's a capitalist holiday now, right? We know this. I'm not even touching that part yet, because it's too much. It's just way too much, and it just goes way too far. But we know with the Coca-Cola and all this other stuff. Okay,
the Budweiser frogs,
right? All of that stuff. But I just wanted to kind of go into, nobody knows.
Hey, fellas, I mean, even if you look at the word holiday, how it breaks down to a holy day.
Yeah.
Well, no day should be esteemed above another.
Yeah.
And that, that applies to all of them. Not just Christmas, not just Halloween. You can Valentine's Day, Father's, Mother's Day, all of them. And I don't know if anyone else noticed, but when Obama took in office, it's like the thing went into overload. I mean, a holiday, I would venture to say, and I haven't researched it, but there are a lot of days of the year that now represent something. Not to the point where, we offer work or something like that, but you got French Fry Day, and we can dude. I mean, Hamburger Day, all these different days, and it's more of what you discussed in the beginning about
Halloween Frappuccino.
what's happening
Halloween
to our
Frappuccino
children
Day.
in public schools.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play something. I want y'all to see, and I want us to start getting some of this out here. I want to give people a little definition. That's just a little part of culture. And I like her definition of culture. This is Barbara Sizemore. And like I said, we're going to make a couple, just a little bit. And then it's almost about an hour. Like I said, I don't like doing real long ones, long live streams. But, you know, we could go to about 20 more minutes. But because I do want people to actually listen to it. You know, sometimes when you make them too long, they look at that 2, 3, 4 hours. They're like, man, I ain't listening to that.
Yeah. That's people who have short attention span.
Right. And those
content is legit.
I'm going after some of them short attention span people because they're some of the dumbest folks. I'm sorry. Some of them, you gotta realize, like, this is my belief. Like, this media thing that we do, it's like people think it's nothing, but you got to realize you're putting information out, you're putting records out, okay? And this goes over time. Like, we're talking about it now, but people could be listening to this from 10 years from now. We never know. The thing is, just like I'm playing this here from her, you know, this stuff, when you're putting out information in game, sometimes you want to have you want to make it accessible to some of your dumbest people, because that's going to make it more likely for to pique their interest in something that you may have said, because you never know what piques their interest. So that's my philosophy. I'll say it that way. But let me play this part for you. I gotta find it. It's right here.
And the conditions change that keep you from.
Oh, here it is. It's right there. So this is culture. For anybody who don't know what culture means.
And we need to take a long, serious look at our condition now.
Amen. Go right there. Go ahead.
If culture is the sum total of artifacts which any group accumulates in its struggle for survival and autonomy, right, then it's dynamic, because it's a struggle. It's not static. It doesn't stand still and never change. Right. It changes with the condition, okay? Because as you try to survive and to be self-autonomous, and the conditions change that keep you from doing that, you change in order to combat those conditions. Yeah. Am I making sense to you? Yeah. Okay. Now, what is survival? I mean, you know what?
So, I mean, that's the only part that I'm gonna go. She says a lot of good stuff. I don't want to go overly into that, but I just wanted to put that definition of culture out there for people, because we don't understand how important is this language. There's a lot of people out here. We just say anything, and think just because we said it, it's right. There's no such thing. We don't have no culture. It just
look. Culture is something that is human, man-made. Us sitting here having a conversation is culture.
Exactly.
Culture defined as that. You don't have culture in dogs. Don't have culture, or maybe dog is a human culture. But lions don't have a culture. They run on instinct. They run on maternal instincts from the mother, and lessons learned by the father that have just been passed down by generations. We are creating stuff. You don't see lions building houses. You don't see lions building shelter, or you see them providing basic family needs, which we do too. But we write books. We see math. We look at the stars. We see things that repeat itself. And these are things that will be passed on to people, no matter if they're black, white, or and even if it's not, somebody will gaze up at the stars and figure it out again for themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the pressures. Go ahead.
Okay, so I would differ on that culture thing just a little, because it can't just be artifacts. Well, and it's not just artifacts, but if we try to make it strictly a material thing, it will never be sustained for
Well, you
any
got to
group.
go back and listen to what she said. She said the sum total of information and artifacts. She said it real quick, but it's
okay, I might have missed that.
everything.
But I mean, God is an artifact, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
Say it again.
God is no.
No.
God is not an artifact.
Who created God?
Well, you got to think about it here.
Without
What
the
do you mean,
human
who
beings
created
on
God?
earth.
He is the creator, not a
God is
creation.
God is a human culture.
Okay, let's have that
without humans, there is no God.
But,
There's no necessity
as far
for God.
as culture, yeah, I might have missed that part, but definitely it is more than artifacts. And, with the information, if it was just artifacts, it could be easily be wiped away. And what you spoke on earlier, Mike, about how there are things missing from the past, and for lack of a better term, what we know now, a lot of the information has been whitewashed, has been eliminated, which is why when it comes out in these discussions online or wherever, in another sense, we are building the AI that the enemy wants to use against us now. And when we speak on these platforms, truth is exposed. That throws a monkey wrench in that global, I would say, anti-intellectual growth. Because
let me go through it again just to make sure I was right. Let's listen to that part.
Survival means that the group has the facts which any group about what has happened to our culture. And we need to take a long, serious look at our condition now.
Amen. Go right there. Go ahead.
If culture is the sum total of artifacts which any group accumulates in its struggle for survival and...
Okay, so you were right. So she didn't say, she just said artifacts. Okay, now...
But information could be part of those artifacts. I mean, it is. Look at... So go ahead. All right.
No. Yeah, you were right. I thought she said information and artifacts, but I think because I listened to the whole thing, I know what she's talking about. She's talking about the things that you produce to survive. As far as there does the good thing about YouTube and stuff is it's a medium for exchange if you do it right.
Yes.
And people have differences. That should be normal and natural. So the thing is, though, our definitions of a thing matter. Like how we define, the word God. And keep in mind we are speaking English. So do we go by just what we thought it meant when we first heard it, or are we going by the etymology and what we thought? Is it a combination of the both? So that's that kind of factors into play, and that's another reason why I'm kind of doing this discussion.
That's why context is key.
Because a lot of people think just because when they first told me about Christmas, this is what they told me, and this is what I'm going with, and that's it. Well, it kind of don't work out like that, because this is the reason why they had to invent things like dictionaries, because everybody can't just things come from somewhere, and of course you have some influence on it, on how it gets expressed in your own life and stuff. But like, other people live in this world, and when they're seeing you do what you do, and let's say your kids go ahead and pattern after you, but they're going to have different experiences than you. It does matter where stuff comes from. So if we're using a word like God, it is a good thing to kind of, I guess, define, like, who told us what that meant. Who told us what that meant? that word. Now we can redefine it, because I do believe in the power that, you know, we can redefine it, but you know, it's like we gotta still understand like what are other people hearing when we say this same word.
But that's why context is key.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I learned at a very early age that even if you don't understand what a word means,
Mm-hmm.
you can look at how it's being used, and from that surmise, not that is the determining factor on the definition,
Mm-hmm.
but it can help you to understand. And you also have to look at, when it's not your own idea, what was it? Because that can also guide you into
that last part again. You cut out on that part. You said when it's not your own idea, and then you cut out for a second.
I said when it's not your own idea, and you come into contact with whatever those words are, you have to understand what was said, when it was said, and what was meant at the time.
Right. Yeah.
Because unfortunately, especially now, we live in a time when redefining words, that almost redefining almost doesn't even describe it, because when you take words now and completely change what they mean in order to manipulate a mindset,
right?
I don't even want
imposters though. I mean, there's plenty of imposters that go into other cultures to infiltrate and do. There's always that part of evil that you have. That there will always be that Krampus among the Saint Nics, you know. I mean, you're never going to get rid of that, but the majority of everybody is, I think, trying to build on the evolution of the past history and the culture of other people. Obviously, it does change. It changes already when you mix race children. Mm-hmm. You know, you can then condition them, if you want to be a certain race or be a certain, or tell them what they're not or exclude them from something. But in the end, they are the evolution of you. Mm-hmm. You know, no matter which race you are, no matter what belief it is. I mean, you might be a Christian and then your child is a mixed race, but some other Christian doesn't believe in the mixed race of your Christian, but you just brought your child up Christian. And then all of a sudden she doubts this whole Christianity thing, because the majority of Christians that they meet, black or white, are now blaming her that she's either white or black or should stand up for herself, or and that's kind of like where she will have to, or he will have to, build up on, you know, his difference and how he has evolved from human culture, you know? Anyway.
Yeah, but when it comes to a particular, and I really don't like using the word religion, but let's put it there. When it comes to that in particular, that is a way of life. And when you understand what it actually means, then you understand it's not about color. There is only one race, and that's the human one. Not that people don't have their divisions based on, for whatever reason they discriminate. I mean, I'm 6'4", my wife is 5'1". I discriminate. I don't like, women my height.
You don't like small women?
Someone, yeah, I mean, that's
but
my
you got
preference.
yourself one.
Yeah. That's absolutely outstanding. But when
let me
people
change up when you finish. Go ahead.
Okay, but when you choose to look, when you choose to involve religion, that is, and specifically Christianity, if someone believes that about someone else, they're revealing themselves not to be a Christian, if they base it on what they see.
Yeah.
Let me ask James something. Now, who told you what God meant? Where did you get that information? And what would you say as a definition as your conception of the word God, and why is it in your mind an artifact? And it's dependent on men, people, human invention.
We had one of those colored, Christian book story things at home, easy reading with lots of pictures. And then the next step was I had to either pick between a Protestant or a Catholic school, because we were in a school district where you could only get into the school if your parents declared on the tax sheet that they were either Christian or Evangelion, Protestant or Catholic. So I went into the Protestant side, which just meant you'd have to go to church and you would be taught whatever they taught us. I don't even remember. So, yeah, I mean, you get that the Lord Jesus Christ. My parents used to pray at the dinner table, stuff that just goes away after a while when you grow up. I think the first thing was like a Christian youth group. They come to your school. They're like, "Oh, here, we'll take you to America. We'll show you Christianity and what it's all about and who Jesus is and blah." And then, it's I don't know. It was okay. I mean, the trip was interesting. We got to see a lot of America. It was like kind of my first outing on my own. We did a bunch of cool stuff. It was okay, and it kind of seemed like, oh yeah, a hobby. Let's become a newborn Christian. And then I came back and it was kind of like, it was, and I'm very open to a lot of different lifestyles, colors, origins, ethnicities, languages, food. And then it started to be like, oh, well, you're hanging out with these people. Oh, you need to start distance yourself from these. And I'm just like, okay, but these are my friends. And I'm like, yeah, but you're a newborn Christian now. And I was just like, whoa, wait a second here. All right. And then I snapped out of it and I was just like, all right, guys, I don't know what I got caught in here, but it sounded more like Mormon, Scientology, Ponzi scheme kind of thing. And I was just like, oh, all right, no, thank you, bye. And I bailed. So he might have been a bad actor. He might have been an inexperienced Christian youth leader. I don't know. Maybe I was just too rebellious and I was just like, whoa, no. I'm a little bit more open-minded than that. Where are you coming from with this shit now? Right. So, and that's kind of like, I have a lot of religious people. I know Muslims and Jews. I know non-practicing Jews, non-practicing Muslims. But I also know practicing people, and I had a good conversation with a Muslim once. And it's basically simple, they're good Muslims and they're bad Muslims. And you have that in every culture. You have imposters. You have people that, like I was accused of coming in, integrating, trying to figure out your ideas so I can integrate them into my imperfect white community. So
all of that comes from somewhere. See, this is what I'm so interested in, because the thing is, I like kind of like a lot of what Will Smith does. I like listening to some of his philosophies and his ideas, because the thing is, I think we need to start elevating, because a lot of the stuff that we believe, every group to me has truth. Yeah, everybody has truth. But then we got some people who may misunderstand some stuff. And like say we go into church, my great grandmother and grandmother and stuff, we were all in their churches and everything. And yeah, they're speaking truth and teaching, and all of these things have truth to them. But then what ends up happening is maybe one person may misunderstand it, or they may just do it incorrectly. And we use them to kind of, blanket the entire thing. Let's say 2 or 3 of them, let's say 100 of them have some negative issues. okay, it's coming from somewhere, but does that mean that everything that I heard was incorrect? Everything that I heard was garbage? No, it just means that, I need to figure out how I need a standard to tell what's true and what's not true, what's going to actually work and what's is actually just somebody's stuff that they just believe and they told me. Because a lot of times we don't question the first time we hear some information. That's the reason why we don't question, because sometimes we hear from our mom, hear from our teacher or something, and we don't have any foundation to question it. So we just believe it. Okay, is it? And then when the second person comes and tells us, well, you heard, Santa can't come down a chimney or whatever, we want to argue.
Yeah. We don't have a chimney. He can't come down, we live in an apartment building. The chimneys have been taken off. We're not allowed to use coal anymore. Or wood, because it's, we want carbon zero. So he's not, we locked the door. He ain't coming in. How is he getting in?
Hey, I'm going to play this one last part and you guys give your final thoughts and then we'll be out of here for the day. But I just want to play this one last
Go for it.
piece. And this is about the little Krampus. And let's see if I can finish this. Oh, you know what? There it is. Oh my goodness. Dude, I hate this screen share thing sometimes. You know what? I'm going to do it this way. All right. Let's see. This is the hit. Fair use.
Everything has its opposite. Good has its evil. Light has its shadow. Nice has its naughty, and St. Nicholas has Krampus. Typically described as a half-goat, half-demon creature, it's easy to compare Krampus to, or even mistake him for, the devil.
I don't want to play too much of their thing because I don't know if this is not.
Yeah, that's real. That's real Baphomet-ish.
But what do you think about that little part of the opposites? Because can you have God? Now I'm gonna ask you, Roy, too, especially when y'all make your final statement. Really, if God.
Well, look what they started with. They started with a yin and yang, which is Chinese. So they went to China, and now they came back to Europe.
But that principle, though, the
but
principle
again,
of God,
it's a creature.
Yeah.
And they're not. They weren't. I don't think they were ever gods. I think that's just a way of. They're mythical creatures. It's. Like,
what?
Oh, the Labyrinth. Those people weren't gods either. They were just, the Jersey Devil is not a god. It's, aliens are not gods. They're just a gimmick.
Can two things be true though? I mean, not. I would definitely say not God, because that is a level only they are on, and I say they because I mean. There are three in heaven that bear record. So that's the point of view I come from. But as far as what you mentioned about the Jersey Devil and other mythical creatures, is it possible those could be demons? Everything that we may have been taught from Greek mythology, and they existed and did the things that they did, but they were
demon-like creatures. I would say, but I wouldn't specifically say they are Satan. I would give Satan a personal seat somewhere, and he controls his demons. Let's say it that way.
Oh yeah, no question, exactly. And so, with that being said, that they existed and did the things that they did, but it is presented to us in this time as mythology. Because
I like what you said there. Yeah, I think I'm getting what you're saying, Leroy. Keep going. I think I'm getting it.
Because if it's given to us now as, well, this didn't happen. There weren't dragons or unicorns or Poseidon or any of these things that are horrific and needed to be destroyed. What would they do to people? What would they do to people's mindset now?
But Krampus just something to scare children.
Yeah,
it was not. It wasn't something that adults did to, you know, scare themselves. It was just like, oh, let's play a, you know, here's Saint Nick that gives people presents. But on the other side, if you've been
opposition.
That's it's child control, yeah. I mean, like Halloween is, you know, you get to presents, so that you get to go out and have fun, but later, no, I gotta check every candy.
Like
Could
Halloween,
be poison in it.
Yeah, you use
or razor blades.
Or razor blades in the apples. I mean, we've heard all those horror stories, you know. Don't do that.
But some of those stories are real. Because when I grew up, it was during the Atlanta child murders, and those were the few times we did go trick or treating. And at that time, you had to check to make sure there weren't razor blades or anything in the candy. But you know, now if all those myths existed, I think it would be a lot less easy to pull some over people's eyes, like coronavirus.
Right.
You know, you're not gonna fall for that if you know this real evil stuff existed in the past.
Yeah, but back in the past, I mean, it was medieval times. So, and I mean, when we hear medieval times, what do we think about? Pretty much evil and you know, I mean, dark and moist and no sunshine and nobody sitting at the beach, everybody on horses, dying, Games of Thrones, death everywhere. I mean, that's what you think of. That's what it's portrayed as, you know. But I don't think.
That's in
I mean,
the northern hemisphere.
Krampus is just something that comes out and like the 6th of December or the 8th of December. They don't have Krampus in Germany. It's a northern thing.
Because
Denmark, Scandinavia. But I mean, who doesn't like to fuck with their kids sometimes, you know, or scare the shit out of them? I mean, this is the time to get them to shut the hell up. It's winter. It's just like, get them scared of something. Teach them a freaking lesson they've been, you know. It's and that's where that's. Yeah, I don't. It's something to do for the parents that have children, in a good way and in a bad way, to teach them that there is good and evil in the world. And I mean, as a black person, maybe it's like, okay, well, he is completely black. Yeah, okay.
Hey,
you know,
isn't Krampus just controlled opposition? Because it's not like Saint Nick is the good guy. Let's be real.
Well, that's what Saint Nick is. Saint Nick's supposed to be representation of good, and Krampus the representation of bad. But Krampus is just a like that troll in Lord of the Rings.
He will disembowel the kids and eat their organs and replace their organs with straw. Those are the type of things that went on.
Oh my goodness!
That's you see how much nice times we live in now.
Time out, fellas. There was this kid in Valdosta that was, and you probably heard some, you know, the story I was talking about there, Mike.
Hendrick Johnson. Yeah. Yep.
Yes, he was murdered, rolled up in the mat, and they never determined his death.
The guy in the gym.
And it didn't come out to and it didn't come out to after the autopsy and the burial at some point that his parents found out all his organs had been removed.
Yep.
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, that's not transparent anywhere, as far as I know. I mean, I haven't seen an autopsy report, just like you haven't seen an autopsy report if Epstein's really dead or if McAfee's really dead. It's all just like, oh, these people are dead, and then all of a sudden you don't see nothing. No pictures, no evidence, no, you know, they're just like, and in news, blah, blah, blah. And this has happened, and here's a picture of what it looked like or may have looked like. You don't know nothing.
Well, look,
I'm not saying information nowadays.
Look, I'm not saying the creature did this to Kendrick.
No.
I'm talking about the evilness that still exists that did this.
Yeah.
in people.
Yeah.
I mean, now we don't even need those so possibly so-called myths from the past. It's enough evil if actually reported right now that should do the scaring enough for everybody.
That kind of evil is scary. If you were the person that rolled up this person and he died in there and you know it, and something else or something worse happened before and you did that, that's a lot of weight to carry around with you. That's a heavy duty concept to carry around with you. But I understand. I mean, I don't think this is related to anything. But I also, where was it in Crampa on Wikipedia? I think there's a place where it says it became popular in American culture when it was American Christmas radar, Christmas devil, Krampus the Christmas devil, blah blah blah. It became popular in America thanks to a movie or something of their other. So it's also, again, you're taking this is 18th, 19th century Europe, and you're taking something that's happening there and pushing it into the Hollywood horror film genre of stuff, and then coming back to it and then being like, oh wait, it's portraying evil, and it might not be the same thing. Well, I haven't seen the movies, but
yeah, I won't call it evil. That's remember earlier, I don't like really necessarily calling something evil because I don't understand it. Number one, these were practices, these were festivals that the pagans had, and Constantine, he had that issue because he had the problem with getting the nation on Christendom versus getting them to leave their old holidays. So what he did is he just said, "Oh, that's right." He just kind of merged it. So they kept doing their thing. This is why we don't know what Yule is. We don't know what mistletoe is about. We don't, all these.
Hey, we don't know that. Hey, we don't know that wands, like what wizards and witches use, are made out of holly wood.
Holly reef.
Yes.
Yeah, like there is no Christmas in China. So right now, I mean, there's Christmas because I'm a foreigner and because it's kind of, and a couple foreign entities do the whole little Christmas dinner thing and a little decoration in the tree, but that's about it.
But there is an underground church in China though that believes what the word says.
Yeah, there's Chinese.
I said, but there is an underground church in China that believes what the word says.
Yeah. I'm sure there is, but there's a lot of religions in China.
Hold on, guys. I'm
anyway,
stream off.
Go for it.
But no, this is a good conversation. Like I said, we at the 1:30 mark, almost at the 1:30 mark. Just make a quick final statement, and we about to keep it going. I'm about to put on the music, and y'all go ahead.
Go for it.
Well, Super Mike, I found it interesting. Just one point that you mentioned when you said about the churches and how your mom and your grandmas went there, and for them, church was a communion. It was a community where I would say, like, if they were stay-at-home moms back then, or weren't in the working force or something like that, then church would be a place where they find their friends, their other than husband friends, which reminds me more of this community, communism, kind of getting together and just doing stuff together thing, which nowadays church is kind of like the, do I have to go there and listen to what God and blah and this and boring and then as soon as you want to get out of that so you can go to other more or less churchy kind of events and things. But it's interesting because I find that also in a lot of other countries where it used to be very church communion kind of thing, work, family, and church, that's kind of getting lost. So, and I'm not into churches and stuff like that myself because for very much of that reason, I didn't find the companionship that I needed or wanted. But to everybody themselves, you know, I'm not a very stationary person. I'm jumping from here to here, different cultures, different apartments. It's, you know, anyway, just last thought on what you mentioned.
All right, that's cool. All right, thanks for coming up. Go ahead.
So with the you know, the topic, I hope anyone that ever peeps this out, you know, no matter what time or space you find yourself in, that they gain something from it. You know, hopefully they're exposed to the thoughts that they haven't had, or if they do, they can incorporate, you know, what has been said, and they can use what is valuable, you know, to them from it. You know, because like you said earlier, when this stuff goes out, we don't know who is going to hit when. And, you know, fellowship with those who are like-minded is a strong thing. I just hope that fellowship for any and all is found in the truth. And that's where I'll leave it.
All right, big brother. Leroy, thanks for coming up, man. You did a good job. Thanks for James Doe, the China Connection. And I'm going to sign off. Y'all, you know, just think about what we talked about. You know, just keep having fun with your families. Love on your family. You know, you can do things to big up your family, to increase the self-esteem of your family. Teach them about what you think is really absolutely important. Teach them about, you know, the spiritual system that you truly believe in. You know, make sure you connect them to it, guys. You know, but we want to research. We want to have knowledge on the stuff that we pattern, especially something that we do over and over and over and over and every year and every year. That's worship. And you connect, when you're doing that, you're connecting the next generation to a tradition. And is it a good tradition? We're going to leave it there.